Welcome back to our channel, Go Live Together. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Evie. Hello from
Hello.
Bulgaria. Maybe Evie, you can tell us more about yourself and your YouTube channel.
So I'm coaching people and I have a science degree in psychology and I'm also writing a book. And one of my ideas with starting a YouTube channel was exactly trying to combine my education with my personal experience, because my current mission is to try to help people feel better and get out of their stuck mindset, their limiting beliefs, to something that works better for them. Because I believe that society is a bunch of people, right? Bunch of individuals. And when the society as a general does not feel right, it's because individuals don't feel right. So when you focus on one person at a time, you actually achieve that general improvement, because every single person who improves their, let's say, mental state or fulfillment, they also improve the environment around them. There's a spillover effect of personal development. My focus is on the individual, but with the community in my head as a final result. Let's put it that way.
I see that one of your videos went viral. It's on ADHD or ADD without medication. Maybe you can explain more about that. I see that your video went more than your subscribers. So maybe you can tell us more about that video.
It's interesting. I did not expect it, but I was having a coaching session with one of my clients, and he had an ADD, and I'm an ADHD person, and we're just talking about how some of our communication goes better just because we understand our problems. Like, we speak fast, or sometimes we get distracted, but because both of us do it, we hold each other accountable, and it's kind of like working better, right? And I
By
was
the
just
way,
telling him,
ADHD, maybe our audience doesn't know what is ADHD. Maybe you can tell us what is it stands for.
yeah, okay, yeah, of course. Sometimes when you have certain knowledge, this is like the curse of knowledge. You have this expectation that everybody knows what you're talking about. ADHD is attention hyper. When you start to understand ADHD a bit better, you start to understand the different understandings, the definitions of it also. But it's, let's say, understood as attention deficit disorder, but it's more about truly retention deficit, if we have to be more accurate. And it's a neurological disorder, which means it's an actual observable change in the brain. It's something that naturally, if you have, you may decrease over time with symptoms or like learning different tools, but unless you rewire your brain, it's likely to stay with you to a lesser or larger extent, because it's a neurological difference in your brain. And ADD is a different version for it. In terms of names, but when you do research in it and when you start to go deeper into it, there is no significant difference in terms of experience and in terms of actual medication, because the medication also is what you give to an ADD person and what you give to ADHD person will depend on their experience, but not on that definition of ADD or ADHD. And to go back to your question about the video, I was having this conversation with him, and then I also told him, I don't take my medication regularly because I believe, it's not actually a belief, it's more about education. You take medication from a psychiatrist, right? Psychiatrist has a medical degree, which means they look at your brain as an organ, and their expertise and their capabilities to help you is through medicating the organ to help the organ function better. When you have a psychology degree, you have a social degree. So you look at the brain as a tool. You have a problem with that tool, you learn strategies, you learn tips to work together with the tool. So that kind of a different, let's say, education or like mindset changes how you treat a problem related to the brain. When I go to my psychiatrist, she'll tell me, well, Evie, every morning you have a choice. You take the pill or you have the symptoms. And I'm like, yes and no, because I need the pill sometimes, especially at early age, like when you're new to the medication. Pill helps your brain experience focus, because focus is something you really miss as an ADHD person. And you don't have a reference. You don't know how that feels. You take the pill and you experience a different behavior even. And then with psychology, you can learn some tips and tools how to continue that behavior, how to learn that behavior without taking the pill every single day. So I made a video about how to deal with ADHD without medication, mostly because my coachee asked me, hey, can you make a video about this? Because I actually want to see it. And I made it as if I'm talking to him. So for me, it was very casual. I was just sitting on a table. There is not even like editing on that video. I'm just sitting on a table talking. And it got, it received a lot of love, let's say, from audience.
Nowadays, like mental health, I think it's getting very, very important, especially when we come out from COVID. Can you explain more about the mental health that we need to be concerned about? What are the steps to take regarding this issue?
That's a complex question, right? It has so many things. So if I have to be more specific, so people actually can take some message away from this, is that sometimes we put a lot of self-criticism on ourselves for experiencing a symptom, whereas the reality is that sometimes our symptoms, let's say depression, are actually a reflection of our society. Like sometimes it's almost normal that you're depressed because, for example, you've been in a situation that is abusive, or in a job that doesn't give you any autonomy and any personal development, so you've been stuck. People have the need for progress. People are curious creatures that have the need to achieve, because we thrive on dopamine. Dopamine is something good for you. For you to experience dopamine, you have to have the sense of achievement. If you're doing something career-wise that doesn't give you a sense of achievement, you will naturally start feeling stuck, demotivated. That can lead to depression. So sometimes we get the results of the environment as a symptom, as a mental disorder, and then unfortunately we start blaming ourselves. Let's say you work at a job that is very well paid, and you're like, how am I depressed? I'm not supposed to be depressed. I have a lot of money. I'm successful. I'm not supposed to feel that way. And you have to take a step back and be like, let's explore. When did it start? For how long have I been feeling it? A good question also here is, what time of the day do I feel the best or the worst?
There's one video on your relationship. Maybe you can talk about that.
This is the second video that, for the size of my channel, got a lot of views, a lot of attention. That video was motivated by the need for reminders. I like that saying that a lot of things are already said, but because people don't listen, they need to be reminded. And it talks about the importance of disrespect, because disrespect starts sometimes out of even laziness. Like you're too lazy to even like monitor your behavior. You don't necessarily dislike the person. You don't necessarily have some bad feelings for the person, but you say something a bit disrespectful. You react in a bit more disrespectful way. And also it's a bit of a test, kind of testing the water, how the other person will receive and will respond to that. And when the other person allows it, we are creatures of reinforcement. So when you give somebody, let's say you tell somebody, go can you get me some water? You receive the water. The way you ask for that water worked. So you continue to ask for water the same way, even if it was disrespectful, even if you think it was disrespectful, because we're also kind of lazy creatures. If we get what we want and continuously receive it, we will not, from ourselves, wake up one morning and think, I'm kind of unfair, I'm kind of disrespectful, I should change. No, you're gonna change when you stop receiving what you're receiving. I think many people realize at the beginning that respect is important, and if there is disrespect, they should stop it as soon as possible at the beginning. But then they enter the relationship, and we often get that fear mindset. Oh, if I speak up, I might lose the relationship, or they are already disrespecting me. If I bring it up, it's only going to get worse. And that fear mindset works the opposite way, because obviously out of fear, you're not going to improve anything. Out of fear, you're not going to move out from anything. You're going to actually stay stuck and stay down as much as possible, which will motivate the disrespect in that case. And the worst part about disrespect is not necessarily how you feel, because unfortunately, people are also very adaptive creatures. So let's say I'm disrespecting you for a long period of time, eventually gonna get used to it, and it may not even bother you because you may normalize it. The worst part is that the more I do it, the worse I'll get at it. And in that sense, many people probably have already heard that power corrupts. Even good people who truly love you and care for you may actually become very disrespectful towards you over time because they were allowed to. And it can really ruin a very good relationship just because people don't speak up and don't take actions on time.
Yeah, sometimes we take for granted for things that we are given. So it's like when it's not there anymore, so you feel regret sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, like we were in this PTYA, Part-Time YouTuber Academy with Ali. It was a 4 weeks course. How do you want to move forward what we have learned to apply in your YouTube channel?
One thing for sure was the sense of community, because I don't have people in my social environment that do YouTube. So just having people that understand what watch time means and CTR, and having this relatable conversations helps a lot, because when you have a new project, um, oftentimes you have your doubts and moments when you're not sure what to do, just natural, right? And when you don't have anybody around you doing the same thing, it can be difficult to move forward. Also, you can get into your head too much. Sometimes it's nice to hear feedback from somebody who also kind of understands what you're talking about. Because if you start a new project, whether it's YouTube or a business or something else, your friends might give you feedback, but because they're not doing the same thing, their feedback is out of context and it's not necessarily helpful. It's just their opinion. And all of us people, we're just biased creatures. So my opinion on a topic I have no knowledge about will be biased naturally. So one thing from PTY is definitely understanding the value of communicating with people who know YouTube, having more relevant feedback. Ali Abdal repeats a lot the question about niche. I'm not so sure about the niche per se as much as having that avatar of your audience, because when you try to talk to everybody, you're not talking to anybody. And my channel has a very, I think, chaotic content at the moment, because I was learning in public, let's say. Like, I may know psychology, I may have experience coaching people, but I have zero experience making videos and creating content and a channel. So my content has been extremely chaotic. And in that sense, I will be soon starting to have much more structure as a result, to a large extent, as a result from the PTYA course.
It seems that you are writing a book. Can you tell us more about your process of writing? What's your inspiration? What is it about?
Yeah, this is like a kind of like one of my biggest life projects. I don't want to write many books. I think I want to write one book, one kind of like one and go. I don't know. I've been, first of all, writing on and off my entire life. I like writing because of this access to your thoughts and to even your unconsciousness, because writing does provide door to your unconsciousness when you do it mindfully and more frequently, because it doesn't happen right away. You're not gonna like grab a paper or your words document on your computer and right away write that sentence that speaks your feelings and your thoughts. No, you're gonna write word salad for a good amount of time. However, truth is that you also speak word salad when you don't mindfully choose your words and structure your thoughts. So writing actually helps you think, and once you think more clearly, you can take that skill and speak more clearly as well. So in that sense, writing a book is, I think, helping me develop my thoughts, and in general, I think making me a bit better content creator or like even a coach, because it develops my thinking, right? So that's just one piece of it. The book could be generally categorized as self-help book. And it has like 3 parts. It goes from, it's like a life path, let's say. I have this preposition that people could achieve a life equilibrium when they go through self-discovery. So understanding what the heck they actually want to do, what the heck they actually naturally talented at, kind of trying to delete the scripts written in their head from parents, from environment, unlearn what was learned in a forceful way, and actually discover, hey, who am I? Because you can never, ever, ever achieve self-satisfaction because knowing that self. It's impossible. You may achieve success, but it's going to feel more as if you are supposed to be happy than actually feel satisfied because you haven't discovered yourself first, right? So self-discovery, and then the second step is self-perseverance, because the thing is that you may very clearly know who you are, but the world around you will try to distract you and will try to discourage you because, let's say, who you are doesn't fit your parents' or partner's expectations of you, or you get on social media and 100 people are telling you what else you're supposed to be doing, and you get distracted. It's very difficult to actually stay focused on what you believe is true for you. And the third part is you are developing that self, you are preserving it, but at some point that individual self should go to the collective self, not so much because of stronger, but because we are all connected. It is the reality, and it's something that we don't always understand, especially in the Western world. And for me, I spent 11 years in the Western world. Like, I lived in Western Europe and the US, and that has changed a lot of my mindset because I grew up in the Eastern Europe, which is the Eastern culture, the community. But I spent 11 years, which is most of my conscious life, in the Western world. And that clash of like, hey, I know this is valid, but this seems to be more, the individualism seems to be more appreciated. And it's a bit difficult to find the bridge. And so in that sense, writing that third part of the book is the hardest thing. The first two, I was like, okay, I've been there. I can go and talk about this all day long, but it's so difficult to build that bridge actually for the third part of the book.
So how long have you been writing your book?
Oh man, I don't know if I want to answer this question. It's been a roller coaster. I don't want to think about it. Let's say it's longer than what I thought it's gonna take.
All right.
Yeah, it's longer.
And
It's something I thought is gonna come more natural because I've been thinking about it for a long period of time. But as I said, thinking about it, then actually writing and doing. I've been doing it. I've been writing. I haven't been procrastinating. But having that clarity of thought doesn't happen so easily. Even if you think you know what you want to say, the desire to write it in a way that another person can understand it puts a bit of like, self-demand a bit. You're not journaling. And that makes it more difficult. So that takes time.
because I'm also writing a book. It happens like 3 years ago during COVID. Still writing.
You're still writing? Yeah, it takes
Yeah.
longer than what you expected, right?
Yeah. So to publish, I can't tell you like when I'll publish the book.
I try to put self-imposed deadlines. I'm not keeping them in terms of like, obviously I wanted the book to be already written and it's not, but it does give me some sense of like discipline, because if I don't have a deadline, it's gonna take me even longer. It does help me to have sub goals, like, okay, part 1 should be to a full version until, let's say, it was until end of April, which happened. And after that, I was like, okay, somebody needs to like read it now, give me feedback, yada, yada, yada. Part 2 had to be done until really the final version. Not like I've been writing only 1 month, but until end of May, because I'm really towards the end of the process. And that happened as well. And I'm supposed to have part 3 ready for proofread until end of June. And I'm so struggling with this. I'm a bit nervous if that's gonna happen. But breaking it like this helps. But because if I didn't have end of June, probably I would not write anything at all in June, because this vague, I will finish it later, doesn't work for me. Later is like tomorrow is later, next month is later, next year is later, everything is later.
So maybe end up like not publishing the book if it's like keep delaying and delaying.
Yeah. So I'll try to avoid the word later.
Okay, maybe we wrap things up. Like anything that we want to give to the audience, take home message.
I would say trying to understand what you want. It's a difficult question, and it takes time. You may find it easier to think in terms of identity. Think, what kind of person would I like to be? What kind of behavior does this person have? Either way, it's gonna take some time. And I would say you're not supposed to figure it out in your 20s. Literally, I don't know many people. There are exceptions. I think 20s are the time to explore, try different things, go to different countries, read different books, watch different movies. Think about yourself, which is actually true. A person is a complex system, right? What does a complex system mean? It means that it's capable of receiving a lot of input, working with that data, manipulating not in the sense of falsification, but in terms of like operating, computing it, right? And then being able to produce some output. This process is only possible when you really get a lot of data, and then you can select, filter, think about it, let it sink in, make some mistakes here and there, because a mistake would mean you decided to become an entrepreneur because it's very trendy right now. You went into it, and 1 year later you realize entrepreneurs don't have day off. They don't, unless you're very good with time management and you impose a day off on yourself. There'll be always something more to do. And then you maybe realize, actually, I don't like that. I love to have a 9 to 5, because then the moment it's 5 p.m., I'm done and I'm free. But you cannot understand this until you go through the process. So maybe in one sentence, if I have to summarize this, we don't learn from things that we just hear. We have to experience, because this creates neurological pathways in our brain, which give us perception and deeper understanding. And we need to do, and we need to explore on our own in order to learn and to know what the heck we actually want to do.
Thank you so much for your time, Evie. And those who wants to learn more about Evie's YouTube channel, there's a link below there in the description box. Thank you so much, Evie.
Thank you so
I
much
see
for
you.
having me.
Yeah, I see you next
Bye.
time. Bye.